Hey everybody, welcome back to Tangle Tower. And we have gotten statements from all of the residents about the murder that occurred. And now we are going to go back and talk to each of the residents about each other and also the evidence that we found.
It's just an archway, but it seems a little ominous. Like walking through it might give you bad luck.
Too late.
I mean, we did already walk through it, so it is too late. Alright. Let's see what the hint says. Talk to Hawkshaw. Who's Hawkshaw? What's going on here? Okay, the detective. Why do I need to talk to her?
It's a garden, I think. It's currently far away.
We could walk closer to it.
Ready when you are.
Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Flora Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. Considerably intelligent, and her powers of observation are enviable. But she has no ambition, no focus.
In her defense, she's still a teenager.
Barely. 314 cases solved. 314. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, detective.
You could at least give me a hint.
I'll say this, he's well suited to physical labor.
That's a nice way to put it.
Fitz spends most of his time alone in the greenhouse, but I heard he's been breeding experimental flowers in secret.
Whoa, scandal.
I just wonder if he's getting restless.
She's suspicious of Fitz.
Professor Pointer's a respectable astronomer. Keeps himself to himself. What?
We're just surprised.
That was the most polite you've been about anyone.
I find her rather embarrassing. Little more than a spoilt child.
Penny must be at least 25.
27. Just makes it worse. Poppy has remarkable musical talent. She could be famous, wealthy even, if she wanted to.
She'd probably have to leave Tangle Tower first.
Quite. One of 3 statues depicting the same creature. This one is wearing headphones. Perhaps they belong to someone who likes music.
They're not headphones. They're earmuffs. For blocking out sound.
Perhaps they belong to someone who doesn't like music.
Nice save.
Do you also have a pile of leaves as a clue?
Oh, not yet. Did you see some suspicious leaves?
This is a potential murder weapon, is it not?
I don't know. I don't think the murderer would leave the murder weapon just lying around.
I think you'd be surprised as to what people leave lying around. The people here are surprisingly materialistic, considering how sheltered they are.
Materialistic?
Growing this fruit simply because it produces a gemstone-like material. For what possible purpose, other than financial gain?
You're speculating.
What would you do, Grimoire, if you could grow valuable stone straight from the earth?
This belongs to you, Hawkshaw?
Correct.
And, what is it?
It's my handheld microscope for up-close investigation work.
What do you magnify with it?
Trace particles, dust, oils, clothing fibers.
Have you used it here at Tangle Tower?
I have. I used it to examine the greenhouse only 2 days ago.
What were you looking for?
That is between myself and my client. Where did you find this?
Do you have any theories about where this might have been?
Or who might have had it.
I have several theories, but they are my theories, and I'm not going to share them. And you consider that important evidence, do you?
You said something about breeding dangerous flowers. I don't know. Just trying to follow your logic here.
3 birds, 1 cage. What makes them worth keeping cooped up, I wonder? Would they not be happier flying free?
But then they might fly away from Tangle Tower entirely.
I wonder if they would. Who's that?
Not sure. It doesn't really look like anyone we've met so far.
We know who it is.
Strange.
It's Poppy.
Some breed of amphibious humanoid. Potentially bipedal. Although none of the statues show the creature's feet.
I guess we'll never know.
A diary. Have you read it?
Not yet. It's locked.
And you haven't attempted to force it open?
That would be cheating.
A book from the library. One of hundreds, no doubt. What makes this one special?
It's about birds.
Yes, I see that.
So, I think based on this, she wasn't holding a knife, she was holding a feather that had a red tip. And someone else said that they heard a noise, that heard a scream, but it didn't sound human, which seems like most obviously could be a bird.
I admit, it's powerful. Freya was a talented young woman.
Someone even liked it enough to take a photo of it.
Now, we don't know why they took the photograph, do we? Perhaps they just wanted it for reference. A photograph of Freya could be important. These figurines remind me of a case I once solved involving a possessed doll. Turned out to be a bit of a smokescreen, as these things often do.
Your life sounds fun. Grimoire, why don't we ever have fun adventures like that?
Are we not having a fun adventure right at this very moment?
Yeah, it could be more fun.
I'd tell him not to quit his day job, but he hasn't got one, has he? Conveniently left anonymous. It's useless until you can prove to whom it concerns. Can you do that?
No.
No.
I could ask people about it.
Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? Paints?
Yep.
Paints.
Mm-hmm.
You got it open. I'm impressed. I managed it myself yesterday. I thought Flora might be hiding something in there.
It was empty yesterday, too.
It was. Perhaps it's always been empty. I believe that was in Flora's room yesterday, but it was not cracked when I saw it last. A somewhat cumbersome device, and an altogether inefficient way to listen to music.
What kind of music do you like, Hawkshaw?
I like anything.
What a cop-out.
Everything but rap and country.
Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting itself.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every avenue of thinking. The paint is still wet.
Yeah, well, we know Freya was in the middle of painting when she was killed.
Do you know that? How? Because you were told?
She has a good point.
Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then.
Wow, what great detective work, though.
You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Huh. I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed too.
That's everybody.
There's a metal plaque on the bench.
Is there a message engraved on it?
I think there was at one point, but someone scratched it off. It's a sea serpent, turned into stone by a wizard.
If you say so. What happened to its head?
Beheaded by the same wizard.
You would think if he beheaded it, he wouldn't have to turn it into stone. Or if he turned it into stone, he wouldn't have to behead it. Just saying. I think I talked to him about everything. Yep. Everything so far. Let's see. Can I try to open it? If the magnifying glass is actually going to help anything. Talk to Fifi. Okay.
It's an illustrated book about birds.
It's been left open. Looks like somebody was halfway through reading it.
Or it was left open for us to find.
Ever so slightly unnerving?
Already got that. See what I mean?
Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
the three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. One scientist, one artist, and one musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been... non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct.
She's not in denial.
Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard.
She just figured that out.
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her. Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell...
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene,
Apart from the one in the painting.
which as a mere abstract representation does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Is she laughing?
That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right. But why?
I do not know why. Curious. A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third. I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time. A book. My book.
And what's in it?
Pages. Why did Poppy leave shards of glass all over this statue?
What makes you think it was Poppy?
The statue lives in the music room. Who else would it be?
Who is that in the photo?
I'm quite sure that I have no idea. I am scared of birds.
Why?
It is an irrational fear. I have no suitable explanation.
Oh,
It is a flower. It reminds me of something, but I cannot say what. Who is this her to whom the message refers?
well, I don't know exactly.
Then how can I meaningfully evaluate this object? Next! Now this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes, it has a telescopic lens. It can only be used for looking at things that are far away. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless, unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends
On what?
on the structural integrity of your teeth. That blade,
It's a troll for gardening.
it is. What a mess. Penelope should tidy up after herself.
These weren't dropped by Penny. They were dropped by birds, I think.
My argument stands.
What's wrong?
Earmuffs do not go on statues.
There's something about Hawkshaw's handheld microscope. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
This little microscope thing? You said you used it to search the greenhouse.
And this would make perfect sense if you knew what my client had asked me to find. Of course, I still have no intention of disclosing that information.
You're such a tease, Hawkshaw. Don't worry, we already worked out what you're searching for.
That's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
You're not as hopeless as you look.
Thanks.
So, that's what you were looking for in the greenhouse? This beetle?
Surely even you can understand the logic of it. The greenhouse is home to a great many insects. The gardener could have easily kept the beetle hidden in there.
Well, Fitz said you questioned him, but didn't actually search the greenhouse.
He is not exactly the type to appreciate subtlety. He simply didn't notice that I was using my microscope.
What do you reckon, Grimoire?
I know for a fact she didn't use the microscope in the greenhouse. It's not a microscope at all.
All of a sudden, Detective Grimoire is some kind of expert on microscopes.
The handheld microscope is made entirely out of a telescopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. The handheld microscope, according to Hawkshaw, uses a microscopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. Nope.
That's gotta be it.
The handheld microscope, according to Fifi, uses a telescopic lens, so Hawkshaw lied about it. I'm inclined to believe Fifi when it comes to stuff like this.
Hawkshaw, why did you lie about owning a telescope?
When you were a child, what did you aspire to become?
A detective? Naturally.
Emperor of the Galaxy?
I wanted to be an astronomer.
Really?
I harbored a desire to understand the secrets of the wider universe. A fool's errand, to be sure, but a seductive one. At 15, I decided instead to apply my intelligence to the world around me, and so I became a detective. But the yearning for elusive knowledge is a powerful force. I tried to keep it with me.
Sorry, but we're way off track. What's the deal with the little telescope?
A memento from my childhood. Little more than a toy.
Why did you bring it with you?
When I discovered that it was Professor Pointer who had hired me, I dared to consider it something of a planetary alignment. I had hoped he might sign my telescope. An extremely childish indulgence, I admit.
I never would have guessed.
Hold on. You're admitting you didn't use it in the greenhouse then?
Correct. As it happens, I have no need to search the greenhouse to such a degree. Professor Pointer doesn't consider the gardener a suspect in our theft investigation.
So, who is your suspect?
Things have become complicated. My lead suspect is your murder victim.
What was she a suspect for, I wonder? Guess we're going to have to look into that next time. We'll have more of this on Sunday, more Pentiment tomorrow, and then more Valiant Hearts on Monday. And so I hope everyone has a great weekend, and stay tuned. We'll have more tomorrow. Bye-bye.